Alright, so we're back at it, part 2 of this video, installing the oil pump on this 2007 Chevy Silverado. Alright guys, so we left off at, we just installed the actual pump itself. Now we're going to go ahead and torque it. So per the service manual GM, these bolts, let me show you right here. So these 4 bolts get torqued at 18 foot-pounds. So let's go and do that real quick. Make sure you use a really good torque wrench to torque these bad boys. So I'm gonna do that real quick and then we'll come back. Alright guys, just torquing this last bolt. And the way I torqued it, I went in a crisscross pattern. Oops. I went in a crisscross pattern. I torqued this one, this one, this one, and this one. And that's pretty much all it is. So let's go into the next step. Alright, so the next step, we're going to go ahead and install the timing cover. I'm going to go ahead and replace the seal. I bought this kit. This kit basically has everything: the timing cover seal, the water pump gasket, and the actual timing cover gasket as well. This is the part number if you're interested. I paid maybe like 44 bucks for it, but I wasn't planning to change it, but since I'm already here, I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to take it out. Now since I already give it a nice beautiful clean, I also even cleaned the edges here so we can have a nice mating surface. Hey buddy, come over here. Never mind. Alright, so the way we take this out, basically pretty simple. I'm using kind of like a ball joint, the size of the circumference here, and basically I'm just tapping this out. Just have a mallet, and let me see if I could do this with with one hand. Just gonna basically tap it out gently, and it should literally come out. Wow, that was easy. So now that we have that exposed, let's get that. Okay, here we go. We're just gonna make sure all this is nice and clean. Make sure you clean the inside, so that way it can be properly seated. This is an old oil. Alright. There we go. So the new seal, again with this gasket, let's go open her up. Alright. So, interesting enough, I think this plastic thing that came with it, oh, I guess just there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let me put some oil on this. Let me get some oil real quick. Alright, so I'm just gonna use some oil on the actual seal. Just put it here around it, like so. Not a whole lot, just enough to get it kind of started and wet. Alright, once we have that, we're just going to go ahead and place it. Just want to make sure it's nice and seated first. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same ball joint. You don't have to use a ball joint adapter, you could just kind of tap it in place, but I want to see if I could do it evenly, like so. Let me see. Let's see if I could do this. Let me put you guys on a tripod. Alright, so that's basically how we're going to go ahead and start her in. Just to make sure it's nicely flush, I'm just going to go ahead and tap it into place. And that looks, I didn't even have to use this, but just kind of give you an idea what I would have done. I was just kind of like hammering it in as I go, gently pushing it in. And there you go. Make sure it's completely flush. Everything's nice and seated. And then I'm just gonna get some more oil. Just put some here, like so. All right. And then I'm gonna go ahead and remove. Oops. See if I can get you guys there. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the seal, like so. Just gonna make sure everything's lined up. All the grooves are lined up, like so. It doesn't really matter what way you put it, the same way, either way. But I like this one better. Like so. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this timing cover installed in the underneath the vehicle. Alright guys, so normally what I like to kind of start just the two bottom ones first, so that way the gasket doesn't try to move. I'm just going to just gingerly put them in there on both sides. See how the gasket wants to move. I'm just going to go ahead and just put it in place like so. Let me clean this up. And then now we can go ahead and install this bad boy. Let me see. Alright, so just make sure you clean all around the mating surface. Take the time to do this, just so that way no debris or anything could get into there and avoid any leaks. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and place this in here like so. And since I put those two bottom one first, I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten those. So let me see if I can do that. Alright. So now that I hand tighten these bottom ones, I'm going to continue hand tying the rest. I'm just going to go in order, and I'm going to put the torque specs right there and what they need to be torqued. So let me go ahead and finish this up. I'll torque it down and then we'll continue. Okay, so before you actually torque the timing belt cover, I'm not going to torque it yet. It's still loose, as you can see. The next step, I'm going to go ahead and install the actual crank sensor bracket that's basically going to be clipped back in place. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this in here like so. Make sure you hear the click like so. And then I'm going to put the two 10mm bolts back like this, and the other one in here like so. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I hand tighten this. I'm also going to hand tighten the top part. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten those two bolts down like so. Get that. I'm also going to do the one on the top. Alright, so this is going to be tying, and I'm still going to hold off on tying torquing the timing belt. The reason for that being is because we're going to go ahead and install the balancer. And to install this successfully, you will need a special tool. You can get this at Amazon. This is a part number, but this is actually a long reach harmonic balancer puller installer. And we're gonna go ahead and get the actual bolt, and I believe this is going to be the actual, I'm lining up the threads. Alright, yeah, it's the same threads. And the reason why I'm going to use this is because I'm going to actually install, and you can feel it once you install in there. I'm going to first install this tool because I'm going to be smart about this, and I want you to be smart about this so that way you don't damage all the hard work you've done when we install the harmonic balancer. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to go ahead and put this harmonic balancer doesn't have a key. It's basically going to be pressed in that the same way we took it out. So make sure you clean the mating surface inside and outside. And the way it's going to work, I'm going to line up the balancer. You see that little mark, the red mark I put originally? I'm going to line it up in here like so. But before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on the top. Let me show you guys. So I'm just going to get a little bit of oil, put it around the inside of the balancer, and also around here. And I'm going to go a step further and apply it around the actual seal there. And again, this is not torqued yet. The reason why is because I want to make sure that when I press in the balancer, everything's lines up appropriately, and then I'll go ahead and torque that. So let me go ahead and grab this, and remember that red line that I put on the first part of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and install this. I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure this gets aligned as best as I can, like so. And I'm actually gonna grab this bolt. I'm gonna put it in here like so. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this bad boy like this. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a wrench, then I'm gonna hold on here, and then I'm gonna grab a bigger wrench, and you can use anything you have in your arsenal. But let me show you. That's how it's gonna go. Yeah, okay guys, so once you put this nut, this is what's gonna force the actual harmonic balancer. But you definitely want to make sure you time this really good, that way it doesn't come off. Just take your time. Just be very careful, guys. You might be tempted to pound this inside with a hammer or a dead blow hammer. I really advise against that, just because you know, this harmonic balancer, the more you pound on it, the more you know, you could definitely damage it by itself. So we're gonna do this the smart way. So once you want to go ahead and make sure you start turning this. I'm just kind of like balancing it with my hand, and this is actually a 32 millimeter nut that we're gonna go ahead and use. And make sure you lubricate the threads. And what you want to do, you can use this 32 millimeter wrench, or if you don't have that, you can use a crescent wrench to install this. Alright, and again, this is just pushing, sliding that harmonic balancer inside. So take your time. You could also do it with a deep socket 32-inch if you have one, but I just want to make sure I do this correctly and patiently. Okay, and as you can see, it's actually pushing it inside little by little. So we'll continue to do this. So guys, let me go ahead and install this bad boy, and then once I install this and I make sure it's nice and flush, we're gonna go ahead and torque all the 10 millimeter timing belt bolts on the top. Alright, so let me go ahead and do this with 2 hands, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm literally almost done. Just wanted to kind of keep you guys in the loop and the progress. Again, this is the easiest way you can install this, and it's not even hard. It's not giving me any issues, but just want to kind of let you guys see there how it's almost flush. Little by little, you can see that it's going inside. So pretty excited to show you guys this. And again, definitely invest in this tool. You can find this at Amazon for about I think I got it for like $40 something a couple years ago. It might be cheaper, but okay. So right there, I can't feel it no more, and I noticed the balancer turned by itself, so that tells me that it's completely flush. See that? Right there. Let me go ahead and give you guys a sneak peek here. Yep. I don't think it could go anymore, but I'm going to continue trying just to make sure it's really inside, and then we'll continue to the next step. Alright, once you have the balancer completely flush inside, I don't know if you guys can see that right there. We're going to go ahead and remove the tool, and all you have to do is just do it counterclockwise to remove it. Now we can release the pressure off that release the pressure off this this bolt here. And that should come off slowly like so. And then to get this off, we're going to use a 8 millimeter wrench to get this tool out. Alright, and you see how the actual balancer is right inside, and then we're going to go ahead and get that bolt. And again, it's worth the investment. Make sure you get this bad boy, it'll save you a lot of headaches. Just going to install this back here like so, and we're going to go ahead and torque it and I'll put the torque specs up here. Alright, so let me go and torque this bad boy and then we'll go to the next step, okay? Alright guys, so now that we have the balancer torqued to specs, we're going to go ahead and start torquing the timing cover belt. And this is the setup I'm using. I'm using a wobble 3-inch extension, followed by a 3-inch regular extension, and followed by a 10mm deep socket. And the reason why I got the wobble is so that way it could allow me to kind of navigate through that. So let me show you real quick in action. So I'm gonna start from here. I'm gonna go ahead and just start ratcheting this bad boy. And I'm actually gonna do like a crisscross pattern. You don't have to do this, but I find it useful whenever I do torque it this way. Okay, and again, this is 18 foot-pounds, and I'm gonna go up here and torque that one like so. And that's why I got this long kind of extension to kind of allow me to get to these tight spots. Alright, there goes that. And then I'm just going to come here. And then from here I'm going to go over there. And then from over there I'm going to go up there. And then up here. And then this one, last one, I'm going to do it with a wrench. So let me go do that real quick and then we'll go to the next step. Alright guys, so this is already properly torqued. If you guys, just want to give you guys a tip. If you guys are having difficulties torquing that balancer, all you have to do is come over here on this side. Well, this is the oil pan is out, but what you can do, you come over here with the little flathead screwdriver and pry this little lip open. It's just gonna expose. It's gonna expose the flywheel, and all you have to do, because if you get that, if you put that torque wrench and then you try to torque it, this is going to move on you. Let me show you real quick. Okay, so that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay. So if, let's just say you're trying to torque this with your torque wrench, you see how this is moving on you? So you see that flywheel? In order for it to prevent it from moving, just get a pry bar and have somebody help you out. You know, they can put like a, just kind of like right here, like so. Have somebody help you and just have them hold it here, and then you can go ahead and come on this side and you can torque it, but you will need 2 hands for that. Okay, so that way the flywheel doesn't move on you when you place it here like so. Right there, you're gonna place it right there, and then so while somebody's holding that, make sure you get a longer pry bar, guys, so that way where you're trying to torque it by hand, you don't happen, this is not going to move on you. Alright, so that's one tip I wanted to give you guys. Alright, so now that we have the balancer torqued and the timing cover torqued, we're going to go ahead and start installing the water pump. Make sure you clean the mating surface on both sides when you start doing this job. And this is the old water pump right here. Again, customer decided to swap it out, so this is the new water pump on this side. This is a part number, And whenever you install the actual part itself, just make sure you always compare it. Make sure it's the same thing. And let me open this bad boy up really good. Alright, so just compare it side by side of the old one with the new one. And remember, I told you guys we're going to go ahead, if you're replacing the water pump, we're going to go ahead and replace this tensioner. So let me go and remove this real quick. I think this was a, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a 15 millimeter bolt. Let me check real quick. Is it? Yeah, let me go get that real quick. Alright guys, so I did confirm it is, there's 3 15 millimeter bolts, one here, one here, one here. So we will have to remove these so that we can put it on the new water pump. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, and we're just gonna go ahead and swap it out and put it on the new water pump, like so. And I'm going to put the torque specs up here on what these have to be torqued according per the service manual. Alright, so let me go and install this and then I'll be right back. Alright, so once you torque the belt tensioner in place to the water pump, all you have to do, we're just going to go ahead and transfer these bolts here. So I'm just going and just taking the bolts, putting them in the same way. This is stuck up in here, but I'll get that one back. So I'm just gonna go here, there. Alright, so now it's time to install the water pump. This their last water pump actually came with a kit. I'm guessing these are the gaskets that we're going to use on this side and on this side here. So 1, 2. But the kit that I bought from Felpro came with some gaskets as well. So I'm actually going to use the Felpro brand. It's not much difference. It's just one's, I guess, different colors, blue. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this one. There we go. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and place these in first. Okay, so that's gonna be the other side. So these are basically dummy proof. You can't mess these up. Let me show you. Like so. And then the other one is gonna go in here, like so. So once I have that started, I'm gonna take my water pump and I'm gonna slowly come here. And again, make sure your mating surfaces are really clean before we start installing the water pump. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean those really good, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put this water pump in. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and start installing the water pump. Again, just make sure that your gaskets are pre-installed, and just take your time when you set this bad boy in place. There we go. just start putting these bolts by hand. You're gonna have to be very careful. If you have someone to help you out, that'd be great. While they hold the pump, you kind of get the idea. So just make sure the gaskets are seated and sandwiched inside between the mating surfaces, and you should be good. And I put the torque specs right here according to the service manual. So let me go ahead and torque this bad boy, and then I'll come back. Alright guys, so once you install the water pump and you torque it according to the torque specs, everything's basically pretty straightforward. We're gonna go ahead and put these heater hoses back. Do you remember how we took these off and I put like a little arrow facing outwards to help me kind of maneuver them back? So I'm just gonna go ahead and slide these bad boys. I took them off. This one's gonna go here because I put the arrow facing inwards, like so. Make sure you push it all the way inside, like so. And then, alright guys, so once you install the 2 heater hoses on the water pump, the next thing is we're gonna do the thermostat housing. And customer first of all is a high roller on this truck. He approved to install a new thermostat since I'm already changing the water pump. I don't know how long has it been that the thermostat hasn't been installed in this vehicle, but since I'm here, you guys are in luck. Pretty simple job guys. All we're gonna do, we're just gonna go ahead and install this. This is basically dummy proof. Let me give you an idea. If you look at the housing, there are some little notches, one here, so you cannot put this thermostat in correctly. I mean, you cannot put this thermostat in a bad way. You see this little top part? So basically you can then line up this. Let me show you. Give me 1 second. You line them up right there. See that little notch is going to go inside that little groove right there, and all you're going to do is just going to push it down like so, and that's basically it. That's how you put this thermostat in place, and the little valve is basically up facing this side. So, and then we're going to install this. Just make sure everything's nice and clean. We're just going to go ahead and push this in like so. And we're going to go ahead and grab the 2 10mm bolts, and we're going to go ahead and start installing these. And I'll put the torque specs according to service manual right here, what they need to be torqued. So let me get these torqued and we'll go to the next step. Alright, so once you properly torque once you install the thermostat and also you torque the thermostat housing, the next step, we're going to go ahead and put the AC belt on. Let me go ahead and lift this bad boy up so that way I can kind of show you guys, get you guys a better picture of how to get that installed. So let me go and get this up in the air and then we'll continue. Alright guys, so just wanted to give you guys a view of how we're going to install this. You can install this from the top of the vehicle, but just wanted to give you guys an extra I guess want to make sure that you guys do it right correctly at home. So just remember that we're going to use a 3/8 ratchet with an extension. You're just going to put it here so that way you could move the AC belt tensioner down when we install this. Just kind of give you guys an idea of what you want to do first. You want to go ahead and also inspect your AC belt just to make sure there's no cracks. This is fairly new, so I don't think I'm gonna have any issues, but what you want to do, you just want to go ahead and start to put this, just try to see if you can sit it down back on the balancer. like so. And then hopefully I can do this with one hand, but you kind of want to also place it around the AC compressor, like so. Once you have it this far, I'm gonna go ahead and stick that 3/8 ratchet. So kind of give you an idea what you need to do. And then you know, I'm gonna go ahead and do this with two hands, but I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of show you. Make sure that the belt goes seated properly on the AC, and also follow the balancer. The AC belt. Just make sure it's right sitting on the balancer. So let me go ahead and get that done, and we'll go to the next step. Alright, so once you have that AC belt on, the next step, we're going to go ahead and put on the Serpentine belt. And I don't know if you remember part 1 of my video, I recommended to draw the Serpentine belt, the diagram, before you even remove it, so that we can kind of get an idea how everything goes. But again, I'm just going to use this as a guide and make sure that I install this properly. And again, just make sure you check your Serpentine belt before you put it on, just to make sure it's perfectly workable. And we're going to go ahead and install this bad boy. So let me go ahead and do this real quick, and then we'll come back to the next step. Alright, for those of you want to know how to put the Serpentine belt on this bad boy, pretty easy job. I'm just following the diagram I drew for myself. This is the alternator, this is the power steering pump, this is the top pulley, the balancer crankshaft, and then this is the water pump, and this is the idler. So just following that diagram, pretty easy, guys. Normally I like to just put the first end on the tensioner, just temporarily, and then I'm gonna go ahead underneath the first pulley. I put like so, give you guys an idea, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the alternator like so, and then I'm gonna follow this and put it on the power steering pump. Make sure it's seated. And then I'm going to go over the water pump. Just make sure you kind of move this up here. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and maneuver it to the crank. Oh, you got to be careful because it's going to want to rub out of the way. Let's see. There we go. And then just go over balancer there. At this point, you're maybe like 80% done. So I'm gonna go back here. Do you remember how we had that 15mm socket? I'm gonna go ahead and place it on the belt tensioner like so, and I'm gonna gingerly put this down here. I'll show you in action, but I'm just going to explain to you. And then I'm going to make sure that I grab the bottom so that way it doesn't fall off. So let me go ahead and do that in action here. Let me show you guys. And then once you get that, make sure everything is seated before you let the belt tensioner release it, and then just slowly take it out of the way. And that's how you install a Serpentine belt on this Silverado. Alright, so now that we have that ready to go, we're going to go ahead and install the upper radiator hose. And then we're going to go ahead and put the air intake. Everything else is going to be reverse order after that. Hopefully I'll get it done soon. And then don't forget to fill the radiator reservoir with Dex Cool oil. I'm sorry, Dex Cool coolant. And then don't forget to bleed the system before you drive it off. All right. So guys, hopefully this second part install video helped you guys out. Thumbs up, like, subscribe. Have a blessed day, guys. Take care.